to make the best decisions for our community. We are adjourned.
I'd like to call to order the Ramsey County Regional Rail Authority. Roll call, please.
Fretham.
Here.
McGuire.
Aye.
Moran.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Here.
Zhang.
Here.
And Ortega.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion on the agenda of October 15th, 24.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Moran.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Zhang.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
And Ortega.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion on the minutes of September 24, 24.
So moved. Second.
Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Moran.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Zhang.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
And Ortega.
Aye. We've got one item that we've seen several times before. Hopefully this time it's correct. Yeah, Jennifer says it's good. Okay, amendment to the agreement with HNTP Corporation for Project Management Services. Any discussion?
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you.
Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Moran.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Zhang.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
And Ortega.
Aye. Any corridor updates?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's been actually quite a bit that's been happening with the Purple Line, and it's all, I think, very exciting. The CBAC, the Business and Community Board or Committee met, and then the full Corridor Management Committee met just yesterday morning. As we know, the City of Maplewood has taken some votes, and that was covered in the Corridor Management Committee meeting, the 3 positions that they took. The CBAC also had a recommendation to fully support the continuation of the Purple Line and how important it is to the community. There was a lot of discussion about, and hopefully, I believe that the Corridor Management Committee information is online as far as the meeting, because there were a lot of there was misinformation provided at the Maplewood City Council meeting they just laid it out, just what the facts were. One of them that was near and dear to my heart was the fact that it was stated at the City Council meeting that the buses were no longer going to be electric, and that's not accurate at all. In fact, they are trying to highlight it as the first that will be all electric in Minnesota. And so for buses, and trying to really lift up a number of other things. So it just simply laid out some of the information so that it was accurate information and moving forward. But there is a lot of support. Representative Amanda Hemmings-Jagger and Peter Fisher, Representative Peter Fisher, there's a lot of activity that's going on about the importance of regional transit. And so this is more than just the Purple Line. This is about the health and welfare of the entire region, especially the East Metro, which is sorely lacking in something that is reliable and moving people forward in a good way. It was pointed out that, and now I can't remember the name of the network, the microgrid, the program regarding, which is one of the things that the City of Maplewood was encouraging to go forward and was excited about, but that's not a standalone, and so they made sure that they corrected that. you can't have one, you can't have the microgrid without having the grid. And that's the purple line. And so anyhow, there were a lot of things. And it was a really good discussion. There were good things and there were things that we needed to sort out and try to figure out going forward. But it seems very clear to me that we're going forward. One of the actions that we took was to remove the Bruce Vento Trail from further consideration. And that's been something I think we've all known for a long time, but we did that to make sure that it was official. That way, you know, we move forward with the rest of the line. I feel very, you know, at the time when that happened, I was very disappointed in what I really do believe is transformative in the East Metro, something that is truly needed. But at this point, I'm feeling very hopeful because we're not walking away from it, but we are not going to do it on the Bruce Vento Trail. Again, that's common sense now that we know that we've got other options. So I just wanted to give that update so that hopefully I'm making other people feel more hopeful as we move forward with this. So we're on track. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of movement at the legislature. There's other things that are happening. But I think that we are set in a good spot right now. Oh, one other thing I should mention, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but we've known for quite some time that we were going to be out of the federal program for consideration. And so that happens on December 9th. So sometime the first week in December, we will do the paperwork for that. If we can get all of our information together and for the federal government, they do it only once a year where they allow people to talk about or get in line to get back in, which takes, I think, 18 months. But there's work that can be done during those 18 months so you don't lose time or momentum. If they can get it done by February of 2025, then we will stay on track for the 2028 construction season and moving forward. If not, then it moves to 2029. Any questions on it? Because I covered quite a bit of information, but.
No, no question, but Mr. Chair, I too ran into Representative Fisher, who was a huge advocate in support of the Purple Line, looking at the East Metro, but not looking at it just as local, but regional in the impact it has. So we do have a friend up there at the Capitol who cares about this issue just as much as we do. Yeah.
Well, and the city of St. Paul also a huge partner, obviously, in this, and they're very supportive and have come forward to make sure that they're very vocal on this as well. So we're in with we're in good company as far as what we see into the future, and not just looking in just one specific area. So Bruce Vento Trail, not an option anymore, and we'll move forward to see what the next steps are.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much, Commissioner Reinhardt, for all your work on that. And I think it's just, I'm glad to hear that it's still going on. I think when the public sees our actions, you know, like on the Purple Line and on the streetcar project, you know, we still are very dedicated on this board to transit and to moving, you know, projects that we can do with the community forward. So I think what my question was just going to be for you, Mr. Chair, is just, I know we talked about it the last time on the streetcar project, but I'm heading on to the Transportation Advisory Board meeting tomorrow, and I know people will ask me questions about it. We're not walking away from all transit on that corridor. It's just that this streetcar, and so we're going to be continuing conversations. Just, I know we talked about it, as I said last time, but could you just give me and the public, you know, just what are our steps moving forward on that corridor?
Right. With the Riverview, we have, with the community engagement, we finished the preliminary engineering. We've pulled out, in consultation with the staff and everybody else, it was a natural point in terms of the streetcar. To take a pause to see what's going on. Now, the comparison, here's where people get confused. The comparison, the baseline that we were comparing the streetcar to was BRT, okay? It isn't a choice between one or the other. Similar to what Victoria said, you don't go to the other just because you're not moving on the one. That was just for a baseline, okay? BRT is I'm being kind by saying it's just a little better than the current bus service there. It's not transformative at all. People think it is.
And it stands for Bus Rapid Transit, right?
It stands for,
Yeah.
it's,
yeah.
but they have less stops, which means there's less access by
By the community.
certain parts of the corridor, because there's less. That makes it maybe a little faster, but it doesn't, it was not in no comparison to the streetcar. BRT is not a county project. It is a Met Council project. Now, I'm going to be very honest in saying is, of course, the Met Council would like to access our dollars, okay? And that those, what I am working on now with the staff is for a countywide transit plan
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
going to move on. It has nothing to do with the Met Council. Now, it doesn't stop us from working with the Met Council, MnDOT. I have met with MnDOT in the past couple of weeks over this issue. They didn't want us to drop out. I also said we needed better partners. Our partners were not coming out, and we weren't all pushing to make this happen. And to be quite honest, between the two corridors at $1 million a month, a decision had to be made. I reshuffled the deck. So BRT on Riverview is a Met Council project. And if they have, we participate with anybody at all levels. So we will continue to participate like we do for anything else. But we're going to utilize, my hope is to bring before the board soon, I've scheduled a workshop, is to look at transit countywide.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I just want to, I'm so grateful to hear you say that, and I know that we're very committed to transit, to mobility, to getting people from one place to the other of all abilities, and thank you for that. I'm glad, I look forward to that.
Yeah.
It's not just BRT, wasn't it arterial BRT?
It makes no difference, either one of them
Okay.
does not. Arterial BRT has very significant improvement over the current.
Right. But the difference, I think, is the dedicated guideway.
Well,
And
and
so-
that's where I clearly want to delineate that is a Met Council, because I
Correct.
know the West Seventh community did not want to fix Skyway.
Right.
So I don't know how they get there.
Well, and Mr. Chair, the reason I'm delineating between them is because the purple line is BRT, but it's a dedicated guideway for almost all of it. And so, in fact, I think it is now, as far as, but the arterial is where it's just on the streets, and that is 100% Met Council. It's another bus line that's just a tad above
Exactly.
what was there.
Rather than getting hung up on all these labels, because it's a misnomer. People think bus rapid transit, because it's bus is the same as streetcar, it doesn't even come close.
No.
But what I do want a community to focus on is number of stops to serve your communities, number of ridership, time saved traveling, those are the critical, you can label it whatever you want, but if you don't achieve those particular goals, then you can label it what you're not getting what that name implies, that label implies.
Yes.
So I had a few community members ask me, why is it important for the county to lead on transportation versus the Met Council or whoever, Port Authority, whoever? Why is it important for the county to lead on that? And so I'm answering the question.
Yeah, well, it's not just our county, it's all 7 counties in the metro area. And quite frankly, it is, without getting too complex into how the Met Council inherited transit. And transit was always a stepchild, right? It stood on its own as a regional transit board back in the 80s. Then it went to the Department of Commerce. And then it was always moved around. So it landed in the Met Council. People say, it's compatibility is not there, whatever. But what's important about the counties, but having something to say about how do their communities have mobility and access. That's what's important. If you look at the investments between East Metro and West Metro, we're sorely lacking. This has been a very long fight that the East Metro area has been fighting for or advocating for to say we want some parity in terms of the investments in transit. That's where the county's role, I think, is super important, because who else is going to speak for, for Ramsey or Washington County?
Yeah. And if I may, Mr. Chair, that is just so important, that's where you see the jobs go to, where transit is. You see that businesses locate there. And if you just compare the tax base of like where Hennepin County is compared to the East Metro, it's very small. And when you don't have a connected transit or a route, you're going to have working class people in St. Paul driving 40 minutes to an hour to the West Metro. And as you just think about the time that it takes for working class people to be in traffic and then to get back home and to try and build and support their family, it's really difficult. So it's super important in just like the human level and scale of just building a connected network.
So kind of like what I think I hear is that if the counties was not leading this initiative, the Met Council and others would not make the needs of our communities important.
That's right.
As we hear that there's been some missed opportunities.
And the last thing I'll say is, if you look at the green line, you look at the purple line, you look at Riverview, I know there are a lot of issues we got to resolve regarding all of those, but all of them, and not all counties could claim this, all of them connected people of less mobility, inability, now more than ever, to probably get a car, but less mobility, elderly, and the young to connect to schools. All the lines connect people to schools, hospitals, and employment. And from neighborhoods that are lower income. And that's always been a value of Ramsey County, of this board.
And, Mr. Chair, because I serve on Transportation Advisory Board, the way I think about it, Commissioner Moran, is that we have to lead on what we know we want in our community and advocating for what we need with the Met Council, because they are deciding, making these decisions on how the transit systems work and connect. But we do, I'm glad to hear that we're going to have a workshop to talk about, okay, what is it we want to be advocating for, partnering on, but we need our plan, because other people aren't going to know our area the way we do. So we need to be clear about and leading in what we want, but definitely as far as helping pay for it, we need the federal government, we need the Met Council, we need all of those partners to partner with on the resources.
And I just wanted to comment also that this is highly regulated through the federal government in order to be able to get funding. The Transportation Advisory Board is which is part of the Met Council. It kind of all works together, but that also has representatives from the counties, and basically the people that are more involved in the day-to-day of what do we need for our community. So it has cities, it has others on that as well, making recommendations. And with the state process and the rules and the federal process and the rules, the counties have been put in a key position here. We have to get it. We have to get all of the information and have it, I don't even know what, it's not a percentage of design, but something that can move forward before then it goes to the Met Council, and then they basically take it over. Then it gets a color. That's when it gets a color. Because in order to get the federal money, we have to go through all these hoops, which costs money, but at the same time, we've got the more funds to go into it. So it's complicated. Thank you.
Oh, anything else? May I just provide a quick update too? So not Purple Line related, since Commissioner Reinhardt, Chair Reinhardt covered that. But I wanted to mention that related to Gold Line, there is a ton of construction that's happening on the east side of St. Paul. And in partnership with Councilmember Johnson from St. Paul, as well as Representative Liz Lee, we will be hosting a construction and transportation project update to the community. That includes folks from MnDOT, the Metro Transit about the Gold Line project, our Public Works Department, as well as St. Paul's and the St. Paul Regional Water Services. There's a lot going on on the east side. So that is happening next
Say
Thursday.
what the Gold Line is, just for people watching.
Oh, the Gold Line project that's happening right off of 94, that connects all the way to Woodbury. I forgot.
The 94.
Yeah, in Woodbury. And so all that construction is ongoing, but staff will be there to present and also to get any questions and hear back on Thursday, October 24th, 5:30 p.m. at Harding High School. And this is just so important too, because as everyday citizens, I share that I worked for the city for 8 years, and I didn't even know that if there's dust problem from construction projects, you can call the project, and their project inspectors will go out there and help to like mediate or remediate the issue too, and have the construction team there take care of that dust. So just little things like that where it just goes a long ways. So we're hosting this where community members can join. It's open to the public, learn more about the projects that's happening in the neighborhood. Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad you brought up the Gold Line. That's a perfect success story. You know, I spent 12 years on the Gold Line representing Ramsey County. And so Washington County and Ramsey County came up with a plan. We went through all the process that we go through Purple Line to review. The one difference is that we had, and this is what I mean about the other agencies, everybody's saying that's the goal, we're gonna get there, we're all gonna pull together. That didn't happen on review. Hopefully, we'll get it straight on Purple Line. Unlike Gold Line, where we had MnDOT, Met Council, quite frankly, they come in at the tail end. But we moved that project, and that project came in on the budget, and it's gonna open March of next year. So that's what we have to do with all these projects to make them work. Otherwise, it's a lot of money. And you know, with the issues that we're facing today, we can't afford to be misspending or misusing or not being efficient. Those are the wrong words. Not being as efficient as possible with our resources.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just also wanted to add that it makes such a big difference with the transit, tying back all of our conversation here together, right? Where that partnership is so critical, and the ending area of the route is at Woodbury's like biggest shopping center area,
Right.
right? And they were big partners, in my understanding, because they could not find the workforce that could drive and get over there, right? So there's all those advantages, and the difference I see from Maplewood Mall to Rosedale Mall, where so much construction and a lot of retail is happening over in Roseville, is because they have a bus, the A line there that connects people to the jobs, but also to a destination. And that's what Maplewood could be at the Maplewood Mall Center, right? Other than a dying mall that is being experienced like throughout the country about what malls are. So it just provides a new way to bring all of the resources and support there to revitalize it. In addition to that, I was just thinking about how the Gold Line will be a model. So finally, Chair, thank you so much for that leadership about the Gold Line for 12 years.
Right.
And that with this, with the start of it, hopefully it will provide and expand the imagination of residents to envision and see what's possible. Thank you.
Well, you know, and that ties into what I said, all our lines, the Gold Line, what motivated us to form the partnership with Washington County was that we take the areas of Railroad Island, Sweet Hollow, those areas where we need to connect people to employment, and then you had a big need of employment on the other side. That was the number one reason why we moved forward on the Gold Line, to connect people to employment.
Well, Mr. Chair, that reminds me, because that is a great partnership. It started out, I think, as Gateway, is that what we were? Gosh. Yes. Okay, there's a little history here. But the fact is, there were really big bumps along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Not dissimilar to what's happening on Purple Line right now. So,
That's
and I
right.
know what it is now, and all of those little things that we thought were, oh my gosh, it's not gonna happen, we worked out because we had partners.
To your point, I was the chair of the PAC for a couple of years early on, and it was, when I had those meetings in Washington County, it was close to effigy. People were dead set against it. I mean,
Wow.
really.
Communities pulling
Yeah.
out, and, yeah. Wow.
It's amazing that history.
Okay, well, good discussion.
Thank
We
you,
are
Mr.
adjourned.
Chair.